Judge, Your Honor, I have a question for you. And the judge quips back, 9 inches. I have a very interesting story for you. This is the matter of Judge Daniel F. Catherine, Benton County, State of Washington. And let me tell you the story first, and then we'll go bring it up on the screen. Imagine that you are a traffic judge. This was a traffic court matter, and the judge is sitting in his chair in his chambers. Now, judges' chambers, if you've seen movies, judges' chambers pretty much look like that. Various versions of it, but generally speaking, a judge's chamber is the judge's office. It's their private office. They do most of their work in public, on the bench, in the courtroom. But then when there's routine things to do or simple status conferences between the lawyers that doesn't involve the parties, sometimes they'll do things in chambers. And when it's official, they actually bring the court reporter into chambers, and the transcriptionist will type out the transcript of what's going on. And when it's not court time, they'll conduct their business. And so it's their private office, their court clerk, or other tip staff, they're called, will come in and out of their office. You know, Your Honor, we need you to sign this, or Your Honor, we got a phone call about this, or whatever. So picture this. You are a female court clerk, and you need to go ask your judge a routine question. And you walk in, Judge, Your Honor, I have a question for you. And the judge quips back, 9 inches.
Yeah.
So then the female clerk expressed shock, I'm assuming on her face. It doesn't say what she said. And then the judge immediately acknowledged that his comment was inappropriate. Shortly thereafter, she disclosed the incident to 2 coworkers. The following week, after being contacted by court admin, the clerk reported the matter to the county Human Resources Department. The manager of Human Resources met with the respondent, which at the time, respondent the judge acknowledged the impropriety of his comment, offered to formally apologize to the clerk, and voluntarily agreed to view and did view an online training course addressing sexual harassment and discrimination. What do you think should happen in this situation? He made this obviously inappropriate remark. Outside of a professional setting, it could be offensive, could be funny, depending upon, which friends you're hanging out with and what the context is. But this was a clearly professional setting. This is a judge's court chambers. It not only is a professional setting, but it looks like a professional setting, right? It looks like a judge's chambers. It feels like a judge's chambers. It feels like a very formal office setting. So what do you think should happen?
I think judges aren't supposed to lie.
Oh, fudge.
No, there's a duty of candor to the tribunal, not from the tribunal.
In the real world, judges work a lot of hours, I'm assuming, especially in terms of like traffic court stuff, and you get kind of close with the people that you work with regularly. And as someone who has been known to make a few crass jokes in her time, I understand not reading a room right for like one occasion. And
yeah,
I think that he owned up to it pretty quickly and was like, that is not a good joke. That was not taken well. I'm sorry. He was honest with HR. He said, like, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for this. Great. To me, that shows that he understood that what he did was inappropriate, and he's not going to do it again. Now, if this had been a pattern of behavior, though, that if HR does an investigation and finds like all the female clerks were like, yeah, there's a range of behaviors. This has been a long-term issue, and this is just the first person who has brought it to HR's attention, then that's a little bit different. I'm a little bit more forgiving in terms of if it's a one-off thing and he's sorry, then like let him learn from that mistake.
So this is the Washington Code of Judicial Conduct, I think. Courts.wa.gov. Yeah, it should be. And it says that the complaint says that he was charged with violations of Rule 1.1 and 1.2, and two others. So 1.1 is that a judge shall comply with the Code of Judicial Conduct. So any violation of the Code of Judicial Conduct is obviously a violation of Rule 1.1. Promoting confidence in the judiciary is Rule 1.2. A judge shall at all times act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the independence, integrity, and impartiality of the judiciary and shall avoid impropriety and the appearance of impropriety. So that's really important there. One of the things that the judge did by saying that is sort of injuring the public confidence in the judicial lack of bias, by saying jokes like that in a professional context. In my humble opinion, it's showing the possibility that the judge may go more lenient on people who've made such a joke and are accused of such in a claim in front of him. You know, he might go easy on that person or that entity because, you know, he does it himself. So that's one. Then they said there were violations of Rule 2.3b and 2.8b. So let's go back here and see if we can find Rule 2.3. Bias, prejudice, and harassment. B, a judge shall not, in the performance of judicial duties, by words or conduct, manifest bias or prejudice, or engage in harassment, and shall not permit court staff, court officials, or others subject to the court's direction to do so. And then 2.8b, decorum, demeanor, and communication with jurors. A judge shall be patient, dignified, and courteous to litigants, jurors, witnesses, lawyers, court staff, court officials, and others with whom the judge deals with in an official capacity, and shall require similar conduct of their staff. So that the judge, you know, more or less violated those things, and I guess the question becomes, how much do you punish a judge for something like that? Should it end his entire career? Should it be a temporary suspension? Should it be a fine? What do you think happened? Anyone want to take a guess?
Well, he did the online HR training thing and he offered to give her a formal apology. Maybe a small fine?
Okay.
Oh God, I have too much faith in humanity, don't I?
Let's take a look at what happened. So the commission received a complaint in March 2018. The commission is this Washington Commission on Judicial Conduct. The commission received a complaint March 2018 and initiated disciplinary proceedings with service to the respondent on May 25th, 2018. They accused of Rule 1.1, Rule 1.2, 2.3b, and 2.8b. And respondent timely answered the allegations, acknowledged making the comment, acknowledged that it was inappropriate. He wrote that he intended to make a joke to a person he had known for several years and whom he considered a friend. He wrote that nonetheless he realizes that the comment was in bad taste and should not have been made regardless of the clerk's subjective opinion of its offensiveness. So the judge agreed to a stipulation of the judicial misconduct. A stipulation means that we went back and forth with the board of judicial conduct and he agreed to a certain statement and punishment. So respondent agrees that his conduct violated the Code of Judicial Conduct. The code requires judges to uphold the integrity of the judiciary, as we set forth before or said before. Judges are held to a high standard of conduct. Comments of a sexual nature are inappropriate in any professional setting, and particularly so where the speaker holds a high position of power over the person subjected to the comments. Because of that power disparity, subordinate employees can feel inhibited from reporting such misconduct and endure a workplace unsure of when they might be, again, subjected to it. So the commission decides what sanction is appropriate. It must be commensurate to the level of respondent's culpability, must be sufficient to maintain dignity and honor of the judicial position. This sanction should also seek to protect the public's confidence in the judiciary. In seeking the appropriate level of discipline to impose, the Commission sets forth factors in a judicial conduct rule of procedure. Characteristics of the misconduct: it was an isolated incident. There was no indication that he exploited his position. The inappropriate comment appears to have resulted from respondent being overly casual around court staff and not showing due regard to his role as a judge. The comment occurred outside the courtroom, was not connected with a court proceeding, but was in his capacity as a judge. It was disruptive to the workplace and upsetting to the clerk to whom the comment was made. Respondent has been a judge for 7 years, no disciplinary history. He immediately acknowledged, recognized his comment was inappropriate. He took responsibility for his actions. He offered to apologize. He voluntarily watched an anti-sexual harassment training video. He has fully cooperated in the proceeding. He entered into this stipulation demonstrating his further commitment to refrain from similar acts in the future. Based on the facts, the respondent and the Commission agree that the stipulated misconduct shall be sanctioned by a simple imposition of an admonishment. An admonishment is a written action of the Commission that cautions a respondent not to engage in certain proscribed behavior. An admonishment may include a requirement that the respondent follow a specified corrective course of action. Admonishment is the least severe disciplinary action the Commission can issue. Respondent agrees he will participate in ethics training focused on appropriate courtroom behavior, approved in advance by the Commission chair or designated person. Respondent agrees he shall complete 1 hour of such training and will certify successful completion of such training within 1 year. The requirement takes into account the prior training respondent has voluntarily undertaken. It is the Commission's hope and expectation that respondent will fully absorb the gravity of the situation and put to use the skills he acquired during previous remedial training. Respondent agrees that he will not repeat such conduct, mindful of the potential threat of repetition of his conduct poses to public confidence, etc. Respondent agrees that he will promptly read and familiarize himself with the Code of Judicial Conduct, that he has been represented by an attorney. He affirms he enters into this agreement, having opportunity to, etc., consult with his attorney. And it's signed by everybody. So that was his punishment, a simple public admonishment, which I think is the appropriate remedy. Personally, I'm not even sure it needed to get to this level, but okay, so it needed to get to this level. What's the appropriate remedy then? Yeah, admonishment, I think. What do you think? Let us know. So that is our show, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. This, of course, is a community-supported channel, and I thank all of our supporters for their various forms of support. We do accept subscribers on Twitch, and we do have a PayPal where you can support, but the primary means of supporting the channel is still patreon.com/ljfrench. In the month of January, I thank our $50 plus supporters: Jonathon Doe, John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Eevi, Andy, Kyle Mudrak, Verement, Tayne, Michael Pearce, Terry Chris, Richard Fournier, Spirit Bear, Jan Negrey, Daniel Perez, and Sean McNamara. And thank you to the $5 plus supporters that are scrolling on the LED panel behind me, and I'll find room for you here on the crawl. Thank you very much for joining me, Brandon and Blackleaf and Tactical Bra, and I believe Miss Kelly was here for a little bit. Thanks for all your input and your research and your management and your love and your kindness and all that. You guys are great. Once again, I am Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney. I will see you in the videos that drop this week. We'll probably end up doing a live stream or something this week, because I'm sure that there's going to be something happening sometime soon here, as there always is. Every week there's something in copyright law, which is what keeps us going. So thank you for joining me. Love you all. I'll see you this week. Have a great week. Stay dry, stay warm, stay not stuck on the side of the road due to crashing from the snow and ice and all that. And we'll see you in the next one. Love you all. Bye. Where's the ball? Where's the ball? You need a ball. I'll find one. As usual, you have me trained to find all the balls for you.